My husband looked me in the eyes tonight and said the words every wife dreads hearing. I need to confess something. I've been lying to you for 2 years. 2 years. My heart stopped. We've been married for 15 years. We have 3 children. I'm 6 months pregnant with our 4th. What could he possibly be hiding for that long? I felt my world starting to crumble. Was it another woman? A secret bank account? A gambling addiction? Another family I didn't know about? I braced myself. I prepared for my life to shatter. I was ready to hear the worst confession imaginable. But what came out of his mouth? I wasn't prepared for that. Not even close. Because sometimes the secrets we keep aren't the ones that destroy us. Sometimes they're the ones that prove just how much someone loves you. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand why his confession broke me in the best possible way, you need to know how we got here. And it all started with the worst year of my life. 2023. That's the year I learned what real fear feels like. I was 34 years old, 3 kids under 10, a husband I loved, a life I'd built, and then 4 words from my doctor. Stage 3 kidney cancer. Not stage 1, not we caught it early. Stage 3. The tumor was aggressive. It had already started spreading. Surgery wasn't optional. It was my only chance at survival. They scheduled me for a radical nephrectomy. That's the medical term for we're removing your entire kidney and hoping we got all the cancer. The surgery took 6 hours. When I woke up, I couldn't move without screaming. The pain was, I don't even have words for it. Every breath felt like broken glass in my chest. Every movement was agony. Mark, my husband, he took a leave of absence from work. Not a few days, not even a week. He took weeks off. His boss wasn't happy. We lost that income. But Mark didn't even hesitate. He said, "She's my wife. Nothing else matters." He became my full-time caregiver. He helped me to the bathroom. He bathed me because I couldn't lift my arms. He changed my bandages when I couldn't bear to look at the scar. He slept on the floor next to our bed because he was afraid I'd need him in the night and he wouldn't hear me from the couch. And he spent money we didn't really have, on anything that might make me more comfortable. A special shower chair with armrests so I could bathe without falling. It cost $200. He bought it without asking. A rolling table that fit over our recliner so I could eat meals without having to move to the dining room. Another $150. And then there was the heating pad. Not just any heating pad. This was one of those fancy therapeutic ones. Digital controls, multiple heat settings, auto shut-off timer. It cost almost $80, which, for us at the time, was a lot of money. But Mark saw it online, read the reviews from other cancer patients who said it helped with post-surgical pain, and he ordered it. No discussion. He just wanted me to hurt less. That heating pad became my constant companion. When the pain medication wasn't enough, when I couldn't sleep, when I just needed something, anything, to ease the burning in my side, I'd press that heating pad against my body and cry with relief. It sounds dramatic, I know. It's just a heating pad. But to me, it represented everything Mark was doing to save me. Every time I used it, I felt his love, his care, his refusal to let me suffer alone. I got through recovery. The cancer was gone. We started rebuilding our lives. And then, 3 months later, everything got complicated. Her name was Emma, 18 years old, from our church congregation. I'd been her youth leader when she was in high school. Sweet girl, quiet, the kind of kid who always seemed to be carrying something heavy that she wouldn't talk about. Then one day, she left home. Just packed a bag and walked out. We later learned why. Her stepfather had been abusive for years. physical, emotional, the whole nightmare. She finally couldn't take it anymore. But she had nowhere to go. She was couch surfing, sleeping at friends' houses, people from church she barely knew. And I was terrified, absolutely terrified, that she was going to end up in an even worse situation. A girl that vulnerable, that desperate? She was a target. So Mark and I talked, and we offered her our spare bedroom, rent-free, no strings attached. She had medical issues that kept her from holding down a steady job. She was trying, but she needed stability first. She moved in. And for the first few weeks, everything seemed fine. She helped with the kids sometimes. She kept her room clean. She was polite. Grateful, even. But then, things started disappearing.
At first, it was small stuff. A necklace I'd lent her. She said she'd return it, but never did. Some makeup from my bathroom. I figured she'd borrowed it and forgot. Then bigger things. $20 from my purse. I thought maybe I'd spent it and forgotten. My husband's charging cables, the kids' tablets. We found those in her room, but she swore she'd just borrowed them to watch a movie. We didn't want to believe she was stealing. This girl had been through hell. We were trying to help her. Accusing her of theft felt cruel. But it kept happening, and we couldn't ignore it anymore. Finally, we were able to arrange for her to move in with her older sister, someone Emma actually had a good relationship with, in another state. A fresh start. Away from the trauma. Away from the bad influences. We helped her pack. We drove her to the airport. We bought her plane ticket. We sent her off with hope that maybe, just maybe, this would be the turning point in her life. She left behind 3 boxes of stuff. Said she didn't want any of it. Just throw it out, she told us. And that's when I started searching. I went through her room methodically. I was looking for the missing items, the necklace, the money, the kids' things. I didn't find most of it, but at the bottom of one box, buried under old clothes and random papers, I found it. My heating pad. The fancy, expensive heating pad Mark had bought me when I was dying from cancer. She'd taken it. Probably months ago, just took it. I was so angry. This thing that had meant so much to me, that had gotten me through the worst pain of my life, she'd stolen it like it was nothing. But I had it back. That's what mattered. I cleaned it off, put it back in our closet, and tried to forget about Emma and everything she'd taken from us. That was 2 years ago, and I never thought about it again. Until today. I'm 36 now, 6 months pregnant with our 4th baby. A little girl. We're excited. Terrified, but excited. But let me tell you, being pregnant at 36 is not the same as being pregnant at 28. My back feels like it's being slowly ripped apart. My hips ache. By the end of the day, I can barely walk. Last week, I remembered the heating pad. I dug it out of the closet, plugged it in, and oh my God, the relief. It was like a miracle all over again. I've been using it every single night. Pressed against my lower back while I'm on the couch, watching our 3 kids run around like maniacs. It's been a lifesaver. Today, I was lying there with it, and Mark walked by. I smiled at him and said, "You know, I'm so glad you bought me this heating pad back when I had surgery. I seriously don't know what I'd do without it. It's gotten me through 2 of the hardest times in my life." He stopped walking, just froze. I looked up at him. "What?" He didn't say anything. His face went pale. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. "Mark, what's wrong?" He sat down on the edge of the couch, slowly, like he was trying to figure out what to say, and then he said, "I need to tell you something." My stomach dropped. "I've been lying to you for 2 years. Everything went silent. The kids were playing in the other room. The TV was on, but all I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. 2 years. He'd been lying to me for 2 years. What could he possibly be hiding? I sat up. The heating pad slid off my back. I just stared at him. "What are you talking about?" He took a deep breath. He looked more nervous than I've ever seen him. More nervous than when he proposed. more nervous than when I went into labor with our first baby. That heating pad, he said, pointing at it. That's not the one I bought you in 2023, I blinked. What? We never found the original one, he continued. His voice was shaking. Emma stole it. I know she did. And when you were going through her stuff, I knew you were going to look for it. I knew how much it meant to you. Not because it was expensive, but because it was a symbol of me taking care of you when you needed me most. I still didn't understand. So what are you saying? He looked down at his hands. I went to the store, the day before you started going through her room. I bought the exact same model. Same brand, same color, same everything. I brought it home, opened the box, and I buried it at the bottom of one of those boxes she left behind. The one with all the junk in it. I knew you'd go through it. I knew you'd find it. My brain was trying to catch up with what he was saying. You planted a heating pad? For me to find? He nodded. I wanted you to think it was the original. I didn't want you to know Emma had taken it. I didn't want you to feel hurt. You'd already been through so much. The cancer, the surgery, trying to help this girl who betrayed your trust. I couldn't let her take that away from you too. I just stared at him. So for the last 2 years, he continued, every time you mentioned how glad you were that we found it, I felt guilty. Because I lied. I went behind your back. I deceived you. And I've been carrying that guilt ever since. He looked up at me, his eyes red. I couldn't keep lying anymore. It was eating me alive. I'm so sorry. I know I should have just told you the truth. I know lying is wrong, even if I was trying to protect you. I started crying. He panicked. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Mark, I interrupted. Stop. He stopped. That's it? I asked. That's the confession? That's what you've been hiding for 2 years? He nodded, looking terrified. You thought I was going to be mad about this. He blinked. Yes? I started laughing and crying at the same time. Mark, I thought you were going to tell me you had an affair, or that you'd been hiding debt, or that you had a secret gambling problem or another family or something. He looked horrified. What? No. I just felt terrible about lying about the heating pad. This man, this beautiful, ridiculous, wonderful man, he had carried guilt for 2 years because he secretly replaced a heating pad to protect my feelings. I pulled him into a hug. He was stiff at first, like he didn't know if he was forgiven or not. You're not mad? He asked quietly. Mad? I pulled back to look at him. Mark, you spent $80 we didn't have. Again, just so I wouldn't feel hurt by a girl we tried to help. You carried guilt for 2 years over protecting my heart. You seriously thought this was going to ruin our marriage? He looked embarrassed. When you put it that way, it sounds kind of silly. It's not silly, I said. It's the most Mark thing you've ever done. He smiled a little. I hated that she took something from you. That heating pad represented everything we went through together. Your cancer, my promise to take care of you. I couldn't let her steal that memory. And that's when I really understood. This wasn't about a heating pad. Not really. It was about a man who loved his wife so much that he couldn't bear the thought of her feeling hurt, even by something as small as a stolen heating pad. So he replaced it. And he hid the truth, not to deceive me, but to protect the memory of his care. How many husbands do you know who would do that? How many people carry guilt for years over something they did out of pure love? I'm sitting here, 6 months pregnant, using a heating pad that my husband secretly bought to replace the one a troubled teenager stole from me, because he couldn't stand the thought of me being sad. And I'm just overwhelmed. This man took a leave of absence from work when I had cancer. He spent money we couldn't afford on medical equipment to keep me comfortable. He slept on the floor to be close to me. He bathed me when I couldn't lift my arms. And then, when a stranger stole a piece of that care, he replaced it in secret just so I wouldn't hurt. For 2 years, he kept that secret. Not because he was ashamed, but because he thought he'd done something wrong by lying. But here's the thing. I don't feel lied to. I feel loved, protected, cherished. Some lies destroy relationships, but some lies are little acts of love wrapped in protection. Was he wrong? Maybe technically. Should he have told me from the beginning? Maybe, but honestly, I'm glad he didn't. Because for 2 years, I believed that heating pad was the original. And that belief brought me comfort. It made me feel connected to the worst and best time of my life, when I was dying, and my husband refused to let me die alone. And now I have 2 heating pads worth of love. The original one he bought when I was sick, and the replacement one he bought when someone tried to take that love away. So here's what I want to know from you. Was my husband wrong to lie? Should he have told me the truth 2 years ago, or did he do the right thing by protecting my heart? Is there such a thing as a good lie? A loving deception? I genuinely want to hear your thoughts. Because I'm sitting here, 6 months pregnant, completely in love with a man who felt guilty for 2 years, over an act of pure love. And I think that says more about his character than any truth ever could. If you have someone in your life who loves you like this, someone who would replace your heating pad in secret just so you wouldn't feel hurt, tell them you see them. Tell them you appreciate them. Because this world needs more people like my husband. More people who lie to protect your heart, not to break it. Subscribe to Tales by Karma for more stories about love, sacrifice, and the choices we make for the people we care about. Thank you for listening to my confession, or rather, my husband's confession. Either way, I hope it reminds you that love shows up in the smallest, most unexpected ways, even in a heating pad planted at the bottom of a box.